Hey everybody, I'm Allie and welcome to my Y&R chat for Sunday, December 19th. I continue to be compelled beyond my rationality toward Adam and Sharon's bizarre love story. I can't help myself. And you know what? When these two were married before, it was never as good as it is now. Like, when they were married before, Adam was always scrambling to hide his lies, and they were always one step behind him, just waiting to catch up with him and for everything to be blown apart and exposed. And that's what their relationship dynamic was before, whereas now it's completely different, and it has made all of the difference in the world. There are no lies between them, and it's a completely different feeling, and it has completely affected the way that I feel about Adam and Sharon together. Although, there's a but. I'm finding myself going back and forth, between wanting it to work out, mainly because it's so hot, I think, but then I'm also, on the other hand, feeling totally skeptical that Adam has changed. I can't help but wonder if we're all being fooled here, has he really changed? Because Sharon said to Adam this week, "You're not the same man that you used to be, and I'm not the same woman that I used to be." And I personally wonder if that's true. I wonder if that's true at all, because I can't help but think that maybe when all of the stardust wears off of this relationship and things aren't so new and naughty anymore, I'm wondering if they're both going to find themselves realizing that they're the exact same people that they always were. I don't think it's so easy to just change your colors overnight. I don't think it's really even possible. And Sharon also said to Adam, at one point in the week, "Adam, you bring out the best in me." And is that really true either? There's just so many factors. As much as I'm enjoying this relationship, there are so many factors where I'm going, really? I think that Sharon has certainly, without a doubt, brought out the best in Adam. No question. But I don't think that that's true for Sharon. She had to go incognito to her daughter's Christmas pageant, for crying out loud. That made me sad, and I'm surprised that that wasn't kind of a wake-up call for her. That's what I was expecting. She's at the church, can't let anybody see her, can't go up and hug her own child, can't spend time with her own child. When was the last time she even saw Faith? And all of this, for love. I'm surprised that Sharon isn't finding that the love for her daughter is outweighing her passion for Adam. I don't know what that says, but it's very surprising to me. And I think that Sharon is fighting so hard right now to prove that Adam isn't a murderer, and all of this fighting that she's doing, trying to prove that Adam didn't kill Skye, she's almost operating on the assumption that this is somehow going to exonerate both him and her from all of the people in town hating them, and that's really, really not the case. The main problem here is that Sharon is sleeping with a guy who stole her baby and who tortured Ashley and killed her baby. That's the problem. It's not that everybody thinks Adam's killed Skye. It's something much, much larger, and exonerating Adam from this murder isn't going to change any of that. Nick is still going to hate him. Nick is still going to try to keep Faith from her if she's with Adam. So, it's almost like they're working toward this end goal, but the end goal I don't think is really going to help them. And in reality, it's ridiculous that Sharon would even be able to look at Adam after all of the things he's done. So, again, that's what makes the whole storyline for me totally compelling, because I can see both sides of it. There is a genuine part of me that loves this couple, and a genuine part of me that just doesn't believe it's even possible, I think it'll be a really interesting twist. If everybody finds out that Adam certainly is not innocent, or that is innocent of this crime, and more importantly, I think it's going to be an interesting twist if Phyllis is the one who helps them figure it out. It's kind of interesting to see Phyllis and Jack kind of chasing this trail, and it would be good if Phyllis was forced into the position of being the one that finds out that Adam is innocent. But, it doesn't even matter, because it's one step forward and two steps back, because Phyllis and Jack discovered a bag filled with Sky's bloody belongings, I guess out behind the train station. And suddenly this changes everything for them. They're no longer able to believe that it's even possible that Sky is still alive. But I feel like if Phyllis and Jack were able to make the initial leap of faith that Sky might still be alive, might have faked her own death, including all of the blood that was in the hotel room, that was found in her hotel room, then why is finding this new evidence such a deal breaker for them? Okay, my initial reaction to Diane and Nick was no. At the end of Thursday's show, there was a preview of Diane and Nick kissing on Friday, and I literally jumped up out of my seat and said no, because I just didn't want it. But, and hear me out here, I'm willing to try it on for size. I'm willing to test it out. I like Nick and I like Diane separately, and again, I'm kind of in this place where I'm feeling trapped between my desire to see Adam and Sharon together and all of that hotness together, and my logical brain wanting Nick and Sharon to reunite their family and live happily ever after. But I realize that I can't have it both ways. Plus, if Nick and Sharon were to get back together, I want it to be forever and ever and ever. So for now, I'm going to embrace the Adam and Sharon, and I'm gonna ride this sex train all the way into the station. And I realize that means that Nick is gonna be single, and I think that Phyllis and Jack are the couple for me. Like, I think they're clearly made for one another. Just their banter, the way that they are when they're together, I think it's unparalleled. I think that they both have always been at their happiest when they are with each other. So I don't want Jack to be available. So it's kind of like Nick and Diane, they are kind of available. And I don't want them in relationships necessarily with the other people. So I'm going to try to open up myself to this. I'm going to try to see where it goes, if it's possible that, Nick and Diane could be together. Now, I could particularly be convinced of the Diane and Nick relationship if I thought that they were both really into each other. I don't want to feel like they're only sleeping together because they can't be with who they really want to be with. I don't want to feel that way. And I also don't want to feel that Diane is just sleeping with Nick because she's in a financial bind. I don't want to get that vibe off of the whole thing, or, if she's seeing dollar signs or revenge signs, I don't know. I don't want to feel it's that. And if it's not that, I think maybe they could be good for each other. I know you guys are going to kill me for saying this, but it's possible. They have their kids in common, I don't know. They both seemed really into it. Nick especially, not just the kiss, but the sex. He was like looking her in the eyes. It wasn't like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It wasn't like Kevin and Jenna where it was like, I don't even want to look at you, I just want to do it and then move on, Nick was really looking at her, and she was like, she seemed more hesitant than he did, but they took their time. It was not a quickie, and they talked afterwards, It was, I don't know, it seems like they both really, really enjoyed it. And so I'm willing to potentially enjoy it too. Now, I wish that things would have moved emotionally slower between Nick and Diane, but then we wouldn't have been able to see Victor walk in on his son and his ex-wife doing it on his living room floor. Well, in the spirit of forbidden love, I think that Nikki really does care for Deacon and vice versa. But do I think it's an everlasting love? No, not at all. I think that this relationship between them has very strong elements of codependence, and that's just not a good place to be. I don't know very much about being in a program of recovery, but I do know that it's a really bad idea to get involved in someone when you're still having this struggle. And I'm pretty sure that that's part of, the 12 steps or whatever the program is. But I do think that Nikki sees a little bit of herself when she sees Deacon. I think she identifies with him and his struggles, and that's what, brings them together. That's what forges this connection. And I think that Deacon looks up to Nikki in a really weird way that turns him on. But there's just no planet on which this relationship could work. And I've said it before, I have been a Deacon fan in the past, and if Deacon hadn't gotten involved in the whole Meggie mess, then, you know me, I probably would have been along for the ride. But that just completely ruined it for me. I don't see how he can even begin to pretend or believe that he loves her in any way when he was part of her downfall. I mean, it's completely inconceivable. And, plus, just given everything that they've been through together, they're both so vulnerable, and that's just not a good way to begin a relationship. And I think, really, the only question is, will Victor wake up and decide to come to his senses and forgive Nikki and understand that this is what she was going through and be there to support and nurture her for once instead of, pushing her away and chastising her and kicking her out to the street? Will he come to his senses before Nikki decides to allow herself to give in to Deacon, who's pursuing her hard? That's the question. Billy and Victoria are still making me smile. I will admit it. I love their house. I love their playfulness together, and I loved Billy's surprise Christmas tree. I thought that was really, really nice of him, but I think it's 100% okay for them to not have kids. I mean, really, having a baby is not going to fill this void that Victoria has in her life since Reed has left and gone to live with his dad. That's not going to fix everything. And Billy just doesn't understand how to be there to emotionally support her rather than just trying to do something crazy, find some crazy fix for the problem, like trying to buy a baby. I mean, come on. Ugh. Billy and Victoria have only been married for like 3 months. There's so much for them to enjoy about being newlyweds and their new house and their new life together without all of this pressure to have kids. Why all of this pressure to have kids all of a sudden out of nowhere? It's bumming everybody out. And all of this pressure is exactly the kind of thing that ruins a perfectly good relationship, Unless, hey, maybe Billy and Victoria should adopt Daisy's kid. Why not? Everyone else wants to. So Kevin got all needy and clingy this week. Poor guy. Just poor guy. He said, would it be so bad if everyone thought we were a couple, Chloe? I'm a good guy. You should want to be with me the way I want to be with you. Man, it was sad, and kind of girly. Like, part of me was rooting him on and encouraging him mentally to open himself up to her, like, yes. But then a part of me was like, don't do it, man. Just don't do it. And then he did it. And now it feels all awkward. And this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. I didn't want the friendship to be ruined because of the romantic involvement or the romantic feelings. And I mean, that's just coming from me and my perspective in my life. But how many of us have actually been involved in a very similar situation? Hasn't everybody had this happen to them at one time or another? You know, it feels so true to life, like wanting somebody who, you know, and you open up to them and they totally reject you. I mean, it feels like, you know, like life, like my life anyway. I don't know about you, but I mean, that whole feeling, I identified with it so much, and they really played on it very well by just letting, you know, the silences be there, letting the awkwardness sit there, and you just felt it, you know, you just really, really felt it. It's cripplingly and mortifyingly awful to be in that situation, and I felt all of that throughout the development of this story. And, you know, Chloe acted like she had never even considered Kevin as a possible mate, which I personally think is a total lie. I don't believe that at all. But she said that anyway, and it hurt him. And then Kevin starts feeling all shut down, and, you know, he is just feeling kind of worthless and, you know, bad about himself. And so in turn, he has to go and sleep with the very next thing that comes into his field of vision, which happened to be Jenna. And I honestly think that Kevin wanted Chloe to walk in on them. I mean, to prove that he was desirable to someone, you know, that he was the kind of man that women would want, you know. Otherwise, he would have just done the deed in their bedroom rather than doing Jenna on the living room floor. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that he was kind of hoping Chloe would walk in. I mean, really. I kind of honestly feel bad for Jenna in this scenario because, I don't know, I guess turnabout is fair play, because she did sleep with Ryder behind Kevin's back, and that hurt him so terribly. Except, you know, rather than internalizing her pain about it the way Kevin did, Jenna's just gonna use this to add more fuel onto the fire of her craziness. You know, like, even though I liked Jenna and Kevin when they were together and married, something just feels off now. It just does. I have no desire to see them reunite, and I know there are a lot of Kevin and Jenna fans out there, but just, I mean, especially just seeing them together this week, it was a hot lovemaking scene, but it felt really pathetic on both ends, and now I'm just, you know, I'm just not feeling it. I feel like they're not the same people as they were when they were together before. And so now the lovemaking just felt kind of off. Like, Kevin is no longer this screwed up pyromaniac crazy guy, and Jenna's no longer this witchy art thief with the crazy colored hair like they were when they were kids. Like, those days are just gone. And now I'm finding myself rooting for Kevin and Chloe. I can't believe it. I actually am. I'm endeared to it now. I'm invested in it now. Now that I feel like I've been shut down with Kevin right alongside him. Now I want it to happen. I'm encouraged. And actually, Katherine had a really encouraging conversation with Chloe later at the Chancellor Mansion, which, on a side note, I really always enjoyed Katherine and Amber's relationship. I felt like they had a really unique dynamic, and the dynamic between young and old, and you know the wisdom that Katherine could provide toward Amber's youth and impetuousness. And it was a very similar conversation with Katherine and Chloe this week, and I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of that. And I don't know. I kind of find it. I appreciate that Katherine is in there she kind of lit this fire. She's the one that kind of pushed Kevin in that direction. And now I think she's there to push Chloe in that direction. She's telling her to take a really honest look at her feelings, because I find it really, really hard to believe that Chloe has never thought about Kevin as a mate or in a sexual way at all, because personally, I've had moments of wanting people who I wasn't even remotely attracted to just because of the way the wind was blowing, I don't know. That's why I just have a really hard time believing that Chloe was being honest. I think that Chloe is very guarded, and I think that when Kevin told her that, it really caught her off guard, and so she put up this wall. This wall immediately went up on her. I think Chloe feels like she's not good enough, that she's not worthy enough, and she has this habit of throwing herself at these guys who don't want her. That's her pattern, and now she kind of sees herself as damaged goods, and she believes, that she's, not good enough to have a guy like Kevin who's really nice. Kevin has never cheated on Jana. Kevin, for all of his problems, personally, has never been a cheater, or he's always been really good in relationships, and I think that Chloe subconsciously thinks that she's just not good enough for him, and so maybe that's why it was so far into the back of her mind. Plus, she's afraid of being hurt again, and it's completely understandable. The one guy who she thought that she could trust, finally, was Chance, and she opened herself up to him, and he stabbed her right in the chest. And it hurt her. Chance hurt her big time. And then he died, quote unquote died. He went away. And that hurt her even more. Chloe is kind of a victim in that way. And it's, she's been through a lot, and it's not easy to just recover from that. So Ronan is seriously dying. And I have to say, this puts him into a whole new perspective for me. So many things now make sense about his character that didn't click before. This is why he doesn't want to get close with Nina. This is why he couldn't let himself get involved with Chloe. It all makes sense now. And by the way, seeing Ronan and Heather outside of the bar kissing just reinforced everything for Chloe. It reinforced all of her bad feelings about herself and her fears about relationships, So, okay. All right. Ronan and Heather's sex fest. Was anybody feeling it? I really want to hear from somebody who likes Heather and who likes Heather and Ronan. So leave me a comment. Well, I want to know. I want to balance myself, because honestly, I was mentally trying to block Heather out of that equation. I was watching it with one eye on Ronan and the other eye covered up, The whole thing did successfully remind me of how completely sexy Ronan is, but he would have been hot if he was making out with a flagpole, I still would have thought he was awesome. It's Heather that ruins it for me, but, still, I don't want him to die. I just don't want him to be with Heather. What he needs is a donor, okay? If it's not Chance that's gonna come back and give him, the tissue or whatever it is he needs, and I kind of hope it's not Chance, because I was not feeling Chance toward the end, and it just fuels Heather. It just gives Heather more people to sleep with. So I'm kind of hoping that it's not Chance that gives him the life-saving, whatever. I kind of think what if it was Nina? What if it was Nina that was able to give him life again? Trisha Cast knocks it out of the park for me every single time. Every single scene she's in, I'm just gosh, she gets it. She's a great actress. And can you imagine the emotional roller coaster that it would be seeing her give life-saving tissue to her long-lost son? Kane's storyline has a whole new life. I love it. I can honestly say that this is the first time in forever that I have been genuinely interested in what's going on with Kane and Lily. I mean, I like seeing Kane's dark side. I like thinking about him as part of this Australian mob family. I mean, that's exciting to me, you know? He was the Prince of Queensland. I love it. And I am picturing him in like a nice little outfit in Australia, maybe a blazer, maybe with a gun, you know, hidden, a concealed weapon, and then maybe like a sash for the Prince of Queensland, or maybe no blazer, maybe no shirt, maybe no blazer, no shirt, and then like a tight pair of boxer briefs, and maybe just some mountain boots. That sounds really good to me right now. Okay, what was I saying? I'm so happy for Jill getting some. Finally, it's been a while. There had to be some cobwebs up in there. But Colin is not very sexy though. You know, like I wish he were hunkier. Maybe somebody more like Tucker. You know, that would have been better. Like, I don't know. But the important thing is, even though Jill is sleeping with the dangerous head of a mob family, the important thing is it led to the scenes with Jill and Lauren, and they were all so awesome and so totally worth it. Like, Jill's hair! When she peeked up out of the desk with Colin was so great. It was like, that is why I love YNR. That was a comedy. That was pure comedy gold. I loved it, and I was like so happy that everyone had a good laugh about it. You know, Michael and Lauren are just cracking up about Jill and her hair and the fact that they caught him in this compromising situation. And it was so cool because, like, back in the day when Jill and Katherine were related, we got a lot of this catfighting. You know, it was like catfighting and then making up, you know. It was like, you know, Katherine and Jill loved to tease each other, but there was always love on the other end of it. And we lost that feeling, I feel, when Jill became a Fenmore. But it was nice to see kind of a glimpse of it with her and Lauren. It was that same kind of dynamic. I totally enjoyed it. Like, you know, and then, you know, beyond the silly stuff, there was these really great moments of understanding between the two sisters, which it's still hard for me to come to terms with that fact, but it was a great moment of understanding between them. Of course, I can't help but wondering when the other shoe is gonna drop. Like, it's too good to be true. You just know that it's not gonna last for too long, but it was still really nice to see, and it was really nice to have some quality time with Michael and Lauren again. They're my favorite couple by far. I love them so much, and it was their anniversary this week, and there was lots of little moments between them. It was great. Like, Lauren, you know, Lauren is feeling more secure, and everything's kind of right there. Everything's right for one little tiny moment. Everything's right in their world. So I'm gonna enjoy it while it lasts. Okay, well, that does it for me for now. Those are my comments for the week, but I have to tell you guys that this is a very special YNR chat because, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are noticing that this is a really long video. No more parts, no more 1, 2, 3 parts to these videos, because I logged into my account last week and I got a message that said my channel is considered safe for content or whatever, so they removed the time limit. I think now it's just like a file limit, so these can be long. Like, I've seen people uploading 1 and 2 hour videos now, so it's not going to be that long from me, but it's so nice to have this little extra bit of space here and to not have to worry about chopping it up. So I'm so grateful for that. Number two, this is the first week that my YNR chat vlog is simultaneously being audio recorded, and it's going to be posted as a podcast. I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's hopefully going to open me up to a whole new, group of people to meet, because if you're not into YouTube, then, you probably have no idea that I'm doing this vlog. So, I'm going to be putting this into a podcast and posting it, at the same time. It's going to be the same information, but, if by any chance you get sick of looking at my mug and you'd rather listen to it in audio form, you can, the other reason why this is a super special why in our chat vlog is because I finally have a website set up specifically for this. I'm really jazzed about it. It's yrchatblog.blogspot.com. It's yrchatblog with a B .blogspot.com, and from there I'm going to post the podcasts, I'm going to post the videos, I'm probably going to post some posts too. So if you want to go to that website, subscribe to it, there's feeds and everything, you can subscribe to it and get updates from it, and I think it's going to be really good. It's a good centralized place, so you can certainly go check that out. It's something new rather than the old alleypucket.com. We're gonna do a new website now, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's about time. So those are my comments. That's all of my updates for this week. I can't wait to hear your comments, and you can leave them in multiple parts. If you want to leave me a long comment, just write several comments in the YouTube box, or if you're listening to the podcast right now, you can go to the website and leave me a comment. But whatever it is, I really am looking forward to hearing your thoughts. I have a feeling that there's going to be some slamming me for my thoughts about Diane and Nick. I'm not expecting my views to be well received. I'm going against the grain there on the Diane and Nick thing. I'm even surprised with myself, I gotta tell you. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think about that and about everything else. So please leave me a comment, and I'll definitely be reading them and responding to them. So that's it for me for now. I hope that you guys have an awesome week and that you're enjoying the show and that you come back and see me next week at this time. So, I love you guys, and I'll see you then. Bye.